for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free U.S. mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience, free consolidation up to £10, competitive rates, free package tracking account with live notifications, free delivery, and of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadband and TV is packed with even more value as you get a free Samsung tablet, free installation, and 50% off your bill for 3 months when you sign up now. Yes, a free Samsung tablet. Power all you do at home with up to 100 megabits per second super fast broadband. Plus, stay HD entertained with Flow TV. Stream, share, and do more on your new free tablet, which will also keep you connected on the go with ease. Sign up at a Flow store today. Conditions apply. Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to another edition of Voices. This is 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Good morning to all of you who are joining via radio, and of course those of you who have joined via the social media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube. Good morning, and thank you guys so much for joining today's edition of Voices on 1FM 98.9. As said, I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Today we will be looking at the recent developments with regards to COVID-19 here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Over the past week, we have seen a rapid increase in the number of cases here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, which resulted in the closure of schools across the Federation, and we also saw curfew being implemented from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. the next day for 2 weeks in the first instance. Also, mass events, a number of public events have been cancelled, and other protocols have been implemented to curb the spread of the coronavirus here within our communities. Last night, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, when she spoke at Leadership Matters, reported that we have recorded another case of the coronavirus disease. And so this brings the total number of confirmed cases in St. Kitts and Nevis to 61. We now have 61 confirmed cases of the coronavirus disease here in our communities. They have been doing rigorous contact tracing, and according to CMO laws, this case, the 61st case, is linked to cases 51 and 52. They have also extended contact tracing to Nevis, which resulted in 10 individuals being tested. So far, all of those tests have returned negative. And among that 10 sample, students from different schools were included. And so as the days go by, it is getting more serious and things are developing faster than we anticipated with regards to COVID. And I would encourage people to continue to practice the non-pharmaceutical measures, washing your hands, sanitizing, making sure that surfaces, high-touch surfaces are cleaned regularly, and making sure that you follow the protocols to keep you and your family safe. That is a conversation that we will be having today on today's edition of Voices. We will take a break to say thank you to our sponsors. When we come back, we will listen to the presentation by CMO Dr. Hazel Laws when she spoke at last night's edition of Leadership Matters. Let's take this break.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
Cool. Energize your goals with Lucozade. Get it cool. Look under the cap. Find the code. Win it. Thousands in prizes. iPhones and TVs. Or win 30 grand US dollars for your goals. That's goals.
For a chance to win 30,000 US dollars. Purchase any Lucozade Energy promo bottle. Look under the cap and find the code to win iPhones, TVs, and free Lucozade for 30,000 US dollars to energize your goals. See website, social media, or press for details. Lucozade, taste the energy.
Flow Broadband and TV is packed with even more value as you get a free Samsung tablet, free installation, and 50% off your bill for 3 months when you sign up now. Yes, a free Samsung tablet. Power all you do at home with up to 100 megabits per second super fast broadband. Plus, stay HD entertained with Flow TV. Stream, share, and do more on your new free tablet, which will also keep you connected on the go with ease. Sign up at a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices. This is WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. You're now going to listen to a presentation by the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, when she spoke at last night's edition of Leadership Matters, and she will be providing some statistics in the Caribbean region and, of course, locally here within our communities with regards to developments around surrounding COVID-19. Have a listen.
The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the world, and it has had significant impact on the Caribbean as a region. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Caribbean was the world's most tourism-reliant region, according to the New York Times. This claim is based on recent calculations by the World Travel Tourism Council. By the first quarter of last year, the region was struck by the coronavirus. Between then and now, the Caribbean islands, including St. Kitts and Nevis, have endured waves of COVID-19 infections, stringent curfews, and border closures. The net result is a drastic decline in tourism and devastating economic disruption. The social disruption is also significant. However, we are resilient and we must cope. The Caribbean has been responding to this pandemic for over 15 months now. Most member states are experiencing an increase in the number of positive cases, and over 50% of the Caribbean member states are reporting community spread. The number of confirmed cases in the CARIFA member states has surpassed 181,000. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS territories, including Barbados, have reported 12,724 confirmed cases and 180 deaths. Most Caribbean member states have begun vaccine rollouts, with Anguilla attaining a coverage of 58.7% of its population with at least one dose. And in Antigua and Barbuda, they have achieved a coverage of 32.5% coverage with one dose. I wish to update you on the present COVID-19 situation locally. Within the last 24 hours, we have reported one additional case. This new case is referred to as case number 61, who is a national and is linked to cases number 51 and 52. Case 61 is in isolation. This additional case brings the total number of cases to 61, with 47 cases for St. Kitts and 14 cases for Nevis. It is important to note that 47 cases have fully recovered with 0 deaths. There are now 16 active cases, the highest number since we started our COVID response. These cases include 7 children between the ages of 3 years and 15 years, and 9 adults between 33 to 49 years. The active cases are stable and are being monitored. We are working assiduously to contain this cluster of COVID-19 cases. This term, cluster of cases, aptly describes the current transmission pattern in the Federation. Our COVID-19 vaccine rollout started 13 weeks ago, and as of today, 51.6% of the target population is covered with the first dose, and 19.1% of the target population fully vaccinated. The Ministry of Health continues its robust contact tracing exercise, which began last week, Wednesday, May 19th. The aim is to identify, quarantine, and test all possible contacts of the recent cases. Between last Wednesday and yesterday, a total of 742 persons have been tested. Ladies and gentlemen, all efforts are being made to break the chains of transmission of the virus and contain this expanding cluster of cases. We must flatten this second curve like we flattened the first curve last year. In essence, the virus is back. It has been reintroduced into our federation. So the big questions are: 1, how can you and I protect ourselves from this microscopic organism? And 2, how can we prevent the spread of this disease? The following 6 measures are ways in which you can protect yourselves from the COVID-19 virus and prevent its spread. The first measure, number 1, I urge you to come forward and get vaccinated. Empower yourself with the facts about the benefits of the AstraZeneca vaccine and accept the vaccine. It is safe and it is effective in preventing moderate to severe COVID-19 disease. It also reduces your risk of transmitting the disease. Number 2, I urge you to adhere to the COVID-19 prevention and control measures. These include wearing a face mask, maintaining good hand hygiene, and maintaining physical distance of at least 6 feet from others when in public spaces. I urge you to wear a face mask and sanitize your hands when using public transportation like the bus and the ferry. This is very important because the person sitting next to you may be carrying the virus. Funerals have the potential to be super spreader events. Therefore, I urge you to wear your face mask at all times during the entire funeral service and even at the graveside. Also, we urge you to maintain a distance of at least 6 feet from other attendees. If you are providing care to a loved one, like a child, who is in quarantine because they may have been exposed to the virus, I urge you to wear a surgical face mask and disposable gloves at all times when interacting with that individual. Number 3, I urge you to avoid crowds at this time. Number 4, if you are experiencing any COVID-like symptoms, you must stay at home and call your regular doctor or the 311 hotline to seek advice regarding testing and medical care. Avoid taking public transport when experiencing COVID-like symptoms. If you are diagnosed with COVID-19, you must remain in isolation to prevent spread of the virus to others. So that's the 5th measure, and it's critical. If you have been diagnosed with COVID, you must remain in isolation to prevent the spread of the virus from yourselves to others. If you have been identified as a contact of a case and you are placed in quarantine, you must remain in place within the confines of the quarantine site to reduce the risk of exposure to others. If you are asked to self-quarantine, it means that you must remain in the confines of your home for the duration of the quarantine period. The surge in COVID-19 cases is a serious threat to our health system. Therefore, we must adhere to these recommended measures to curb the spread of COVID-19. As individuals, we each have a part to play to flatten this curve. In this fight, we have employed the all-of-society approach, and we must continue to do so. This cluster of cases is a stark reminder of the continuing uncertainty of life during this pandemic. It underscores the threat posed by this virus and its power to upset even the most carefully crafted health and travel protocols. We are engaged in a warfare, and I want to use this opportunity to remind you that the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine is our main tool right now in fighting this virus. We urge you to come forward and get vaccinated if you haven't already done so. Let us do all we can to maintain and protect the health of our people.
That was the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, providing an update on the COVID-19 situation in St. Kitts and Nevis and by extension the Caribbean region. And this is case number 61, who is a national. And as Dr. Laws stated, it is linked to cases 51 and 52. The individual is in isolation at a COVID-19 certified facility. And just for correction, this brings the total number of COVID-19 confirmed cases to 61, with 47 for St. Kitts and 14 for Nevis. 45 cases have fully recovered, with 0 deaths. We're going to open the phone lines to take your calls. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. Give us your thought with regards to the recent developments of COVID-19 here in our communities. We knew that it was only a matter of time before we got to this point. Yes, many people tried their utmost best to be as careful as possible, making sure that they were following all of the non-pharmaceutical measures. Persons went out and got vaccinated, and people did all that they could have done. We have a first caller for this morning. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Cornelius.
Good morning.
I have something I want to throw out there. And by the way, just for the listeners, I don't know if you were aware that I identify a name to the voice, and this is Journey. I want to throw out something that would tie into the pandemic. And this is the 7 pillars of the Babylon system. Those who are in control have created 7 pillars, and I'm going to name them, and I want those who are listening, to pay attention to these 7 pillars. The first one is religion. Second is government, economics, social. Then we have media, education, and entertainment. Now, why I say these 7 pillars, looking at what is happening today with the pandemic. When the pandemic came on a year ago, we were told that it was discovered in Wuhan, China. Well, to each their own interpretation, whether it was discovered or whether it was created in a lab. The system is all about control. And I mentioned religion, government, economics. Now let's look at economics. We don't have the finance. When I say we, I mean the majority, which is the black race, not closing our eyes to that, they have wealthy black people, but we might have people in scientific labs working on things like vaccine, but they don't have the title to these vaccines. And social, they have built hospitals, they've built schools, they've done everything. And we have education. We know that the education system that we have is their own curriculum that they give us. And this is not just in the Caribbean, it is on the continent of Africa as well. We have entertainment. We know that the movies that we go to look at, they're using their characters to portray our people, our pharaohs, our stars. They're all in the movies because they have our history, they know our story, and they have hidden it from us. Now, let us analyze what's been happening for decades and fast forward to today. We are a people who are very easily to believe rather than knowing the facts. Now, going back to religion, we have had our own social order before all this. You and I don't know when time began, Mr. Cornelius, but our history began from the beginning, and the social order that we have, we never had police because the village was a police. That I can say, I know of, even here in St. Kitts, because we know what it was like to have a village that raised a child, and when a village saw a child doing anything that is wrong, They were reproved, and we couldn't even go home and complain to our mom or our dad that so-and-so reproved us by spanking us. Today, we have the police that they have created for social order. The law is for the lawless. Make no mistake about that. So you see, they have shattered our history, and they gave us their narrative. Now today, we have the coronavirus. The emphasis is on take the vaccine, because we need to get to 70% herd immunity. There are also no figures. The question we need to ask ourselves now, and I'm not saying this to discourage anybody who wants to take the vaccine, take the vaccine. There are no figures. While we are stressing on getting vaccinated, who knows what side effects going to happen 20 years from today? What happened to our reproductive system? Do we know what this vaccine is going to cause to our reproductive system? And we know it's about genetics. It's about genetics, Siobhan. Make no mistake about that. So, to everyone out there who is listening, let us analyze, because these people that have everything under their control and are giving it to us, and we just, like I said, we are a people who we believe very easily rather than knowing the facts. So let us stop, pause for a minute, and ponder what is happening, because this is a global warfare against us. Make no mistake about that. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for your contribution, caller. We are still taking calls here on Voices. You're listening to 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. We're having a conversation with regards to the recent developments of the COVID-19 cases here in our federation. We have another caller. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Wow. The corner, wow. Anyway, could you believe you have intelligent people out there saying that to the petty young lady?
They did what? Sorry?
Could you believe people out there saying that to the petty young lady to say she has COVID so we could take the vaccine? Intelligent people?
Wow.
Why don't I choose she? Why don't I choose a kitty Sean? You remember when we get to our first imported case, we get to find out who the individual was, and it was somebody in the front line. There was an interview she did with Pastor Connor, and the thing that's what she said she went through. People wanted to do her this and wanted to do her that. No, this other young lady, I don't know who she is or whatever. But Lord, for heaven's sake, let us have some kind of pity on the people there. And I want to pick up the CMO, Dr. Wilkerson, Dr. Laws, Abdul Samuel, and the Prime Minister, and also to Leslie Williams. I just continue to hold your head up high. May God continue to bless us all. Bye.
Thank you, caller, for your contribution. We are still taking calls here. Yes, I heard people were saying that this was orchestrated. Have another call? This was orchestrated, which is a serious claim that one can make. I don't think it was orchestrated for anything like this to happen. But we have another caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You're live on Voices.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I like what the gentleman said earlier. We really have to watch out for this. I listened to the program last night. The whole ministry, the whole cabinet, everyone. It seems to me something sinister is happening. It's happening. So a question came up as to why case number 47, how did he get in? And Dr. Lord answered about the ways persons come in and what type of protocols have to go through. But she mentioned something briefly, then stopped. She spoke about high risk. Now, this person apparently, they're supposed to know he was high risk. 1. 2, it's a high risk country. What are they doing here? She didn't mention at all as the protocols for high risk persons coming from high-risk countries. I mean, not even the big countries let them in. Why would you want to let a high-risk person from a high-risk country come into a little island of 50,000 people, where if one death occurs, it's the same as Jamaica having 40 deaths. It's 40 to 1, right? I don't understand it. It sounded so weird. You just brushed it off and said, oh, we can do a commercial. It sounded so weird. And even before that, a week or two before that, someone mentioned, one of the cabinet people, there might be 1 or 2 deaths. It's almost like they knew or anticipated this. Oh, it's going to happen, so we can't close the borders forever. Nobody's saying closing the borders forever. But goodness gracious, why are you so rushing to get it open? You know, it's really weird. It sounds very sinister.
Right. To get what open? The borders?
Yes. I mean, even so, you need the money, you need so and so, yes. But I don't know. I don't think you have to take a high-risk person from a high-risk country to come into Senke and then now talk about, oh, it's people's fault. It's almost like they're saying it's people's fault. People should have been vaccinated already. Not only that, they did mention that the safety, more or less, is 70%. If they know it's only 40-something% who's been vaccinated, why go ahead and open the country still? Why? If you know that majority of people are not vaccinated and it requires you to have 70 or 60%, why you'd go through this and bring a person who the whole world, not person, but the country, the whole South America is on high risk, it's hot zone. What you bringing a man from hot zone who's already high risk, and you say you don't know? You didn't talk about the protocol for this guy. What's he doing walking around or going and hanging around with this poor lady here from the hotel? What's he doing in contact with the woman? This is wrong. Something's wrong. And then, not only that, as the gentleman said, there's a sterilization of these humans. Because what? Youths can get this disease, this COVID. The youths can get COVID. Fine, they can't get vaccinated. So what? They carry it for 5 years, 6 years. A lady, maybe 16 years old, maybe she wants to get pregnant when she's 21, 22, and realize, hey, no child. They're not giving the youth the vaccine. So they're allowing them to get contaminated, yet they're resilient, so they might not die, but they'll carry it. Something's going to happen internally, maybe over 2 years, 3 years. They have to. Because they really know not to give it to children or pregnant women. Very sinister, sir. That's all I can say. Bless.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for your call. We're still taking calls here on Voices. It's 11:34. If we have no calls, let's take a break to say thank you to our sponsors. We'll be back to continue taking calls here on our program. You're listening to Voices on 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let's take this short break.
Flow Broadband and TV is packed with even more value as you get a free Samsung tablet, free installation, and 50% off your bill for 3 months when you sign up now. Yes, a free Samsung tablet. Power all you do at home with up to 100 megabits per second super fast broadband. Plus, stay HD entertained with Flow TV. Stream, share, and do more on your new free tablet, which will also keep you connected on the go with ease. Sign up at a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Insurance Company Limited. We care about your investment. Guarantee you peace of mind. The best team in the business. Guarantee you peace of mind. No other company will guarantee you peace of mind. Together we'll succeed and guarantee you peace of mind.
CDC Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
Welcome back to Voices. We have a caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. And you?
How are you?
Not bad at all.
Well, I want to give God thanks for another day. It's great to be alive. You know, there's a scripture says, casting down imagination and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God and bring them into captivity. The devil find work for idle minds to do. Idle minds. You know, I listen and I hear all sorts of phobias. I call them phobias now, you know. The phobias, the vaccine. Well, for the amount of persons who have received the same vaccine, by now the world should be empty. There should be mass death. You understand? Statistics.
Mm-hmm.
How many millions of persons have received the same vaccine? Phobias we have. Now, I hear people making all sorts of statements that to even a stupid person don't make sense. Even to a stupid person, something that they don't make sense. Why would anybody put themselves in harm's way? Now, they have heard and they were told if you're on the front line in the hotels, vaccinate, put on your mask.
And two, if you're on the front line,
yeah, in the front line.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, if you're on the front line, you're exposed.
That's what I'm saying. If a fireman, if fire break out, the fireman say, "Why they got fire down there?" and he leave the outfit and run go. I mean, it is ignorance why we suffer sometimes. Now, the CMO did talk about vacation in place. You know about that, right? Because
Yes.
it goes on at the hotel where you used to work too.
Yes.
It goes on in some of the hotels where they come in. I recall a gentleman was on the station talking about he was quarantining in one of the hotels where they had vacation in place. And he made it his business to stay out of their way.
Mm-hmm.
A lady called in from St. Thomas last night and said that she works at a hotel in St. Thomas. And she's in charge of the housekeepers. And she said she warned them, before you go into any room to clean or to do anything, put on your mask and put on your gloves. You've heard about cases in Barbados. Oh, I ain't gonna put on none, and we're ignorant.
But you
What do
know.
talk about the busmen and the passengers.
Yeah, Miss Henry, these recent cases have raised questions with regards to people adhering to the protocols and what the protocols are for people who work in the hotel industry, people who work at hotels and quarantine sites and those other places.
But you have even heard about even the taxi men, they ain't taking none. Remember, people come in and they may be vaccinated or they just come with the RPCT test, negative. They have been warned, they're trained. I have heard the lady for the tourist board authority talking about the training. So who is to blame? The lady or the hotel or her supervisor? And we're going all around the bush fishing. And, the sad thing is that the innocent always suffer.
Mm-hmm.
The innocent. Because a lot of people finding all kind of excuse. All kind. You remember when phones came up? We're going to think your brain. I mean, the amount of things they had. And now they wouldn't keep off the phone.
Well, usually when you have things that are new, people are always hesitant.
Phobias.
Yeah, people are always have that fear.
I remember the year 2000. Well, and your computer can crash and you can't get your money in the bank. I mean, unsensible people, When you hear something, the Bible says the Bereans were the most honest because they check to see if it is so it go. If you have any kind of common sense, when somebody tell you something, you don't analyze it before you pass it on. So you don't want to take the vaccine, don't take it. But don't come with any lot of cock and bull story. I mean, sorry to be so rough. But it continues. And the person who you discourage, the virus might end up in their house. What do you say then? Because nobody who was infected expected to be. And a child 3 years old.
Yeah, from
and the
3
whole
to 15.
household. And even as Mr. Brantley said, Premier Brantley, some people in the news are saying, oh, well, they're saying kids. Next thing you could have been on the boat going home day one. And your woman drops it down by you. Eh? You understand?
Right.
And you go home to your mother, whoever you have, or your significant other. You may not even have spoken to her, so you don't even know who the person is. Next thing, when they start the contact tracing, somebody say, you know, Devon was sitting down by the woman.
These are the possibilities because you see, the truth be told, we don't know who we interact with on a daily basis.
That's what I'm saying.
And so you may be going to the supermarket and you may be interacting with someone and you don't know if they are positive.
Lord, even start with a mask. Since you ain't want nothing, start with a mask now. Oh, wait, I have heard them on the radio. We ain't got no corona here. Well, darling, every time the jet come in, every time the plane come in, one come in, only that it didn't escape. It did not escape the quarantine site. So we have to stop being ignorant, you understand? Stop being ignorant and stop passing around this as a story. Oh, maybe you can't get a child. I mean, really? There are so much things could happen to get a child now. They could even start them in the dish, in the lab. Stop these things. I haven't heard so much. It distresses me. And the same thing when it comes to the spiritual level, you know. Oh, I always say, God can come and this can come and that can come. And the whole world can end and all kind of story.
Well,
And then you put on your television and you hear the environmentalists saying the same thing.
But let me ask you a question. With this recent development, there have been talks about a possible lockdown. What are your thoughts on that?
A possible
locking down the country.
People begging for it.
Do you support it?
Darling, let me put it this way. Depending on the extent of the spread, because that has to be the principal thing, eh? The spread seems to be confined to school children or whatever. Now, if it becomes, because I said they don't have no community spread, if it becomes that thing, I will support it. But the same people who say shut it down now, if tomorrow morning they do it, you're going to hear, oh, the wicked. Brother, being a leader takes a lot, you hear? Do you support it? Let me engage you. Do you support it?
If it becomes necessary.
Yeah.
That would
But
be my
do you
response.
think we're at that point now?
Well, I have said before, and I'll say again, I think it's best for the health experts and the authorities to determine what's best for us. At this point, they have implemented and stressed the importance of the non-pharmaceutical measures, of course, while at the same time encouraging people to take the vaccine. They now have the curfew, which is in place. They don't see the need now for there to be a lockdown. Others are calling for it. Others have said, I
Now,
don't
is
think there should be a
Barbados
lockdown. If who's locked down?
Barbados.
I don't know. Do you know?
Is Jamaica locked down?
I don't think so.
Is St. Thomas locked down? The Virgin Islands, where we go. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If the people recommend it, I support it. If they don't, I don't. Because there are certain things I don't know.
You see, they would have the information. They would have the information that we don't have.
And they were on the same station. bawling about, oh, people going to commit suicide, and people laying this, and one lot of... The same set bawling asking for it. Well, if you're a leader, you make wise decision, not based on what people bawl or say. Oh, they got a shot on the radio station because virus going in the microphone. I mean, you know anything people say? And I show Devon carry it over to Nevis. Look, y'all, please, black people sensible, hear me? Stop the fear-mongering. If you don't want to take it, just don't take it. Every time they open their mouth, they make themselves look stupid. Stupid. Think about the people and stop putting up people's name. Maybe the lady should sue some of them. Because there's a communication act, you know, for some of you who don't know. Do you know that?
Yes.
Do you know that?
Yes, I'm listening.
Well, maybe you should tell them. Because they're putting up people's name, oh, this person got corona, this person got quarantine, and the people did not advertise the name.
Well, you know, that's even defamation, right? Because you
maybe the employer don't want them back.
Yeah, but why would you even send around a picture and say that this person has? Why would you even try to send around a picture to say that this person has COVID when you have no evidence? You don't know. You suspect that they have COVID.
They should take legal action against them with slander. Because they don't have any certificate to say they have it.
Yeah, Ms. Henry, thank you for your contribution.
Don't mean you have it, you know.
Yeah, thank you for your contribution. We are going to take some more calls. It is 11:49. We're going to wrap up at 12 for the headline news. We'll be back at 12:30. We are still taking your calls. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762 and 662. We're having a conversation with regards to the recent developments of COVID-19 in our communities. We have a caller. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning again, Savon. This is Journey again. Now, Miss Henry just made a point where she said there's so many help out there that you can get, you know, kids and all that. You know, doesn't that go against the laws of nature? I mean, like, the help that we can get from a lab now, from whatever they can cut in a lab that would help, you know, to get people, women pregnant and all that, or even help men to sterilize the women and all that. Isn't that against nature? Because the Bible speaks of those who are like eunuchs and all that. So, you know, and let me say this again, Devon. I am not saying no one should take the vaccine, but we have to look at what has happened over the years to our people and make the decision, because it's a global warfare. I wish Miss Henry would just stress on that. I mean, I love her contribution, but, I mean, surely things are happening that you cannot close your eyes to. You just can't say, well, you know, the people who are in control, they have done things. It's like, okay, they don't even want to live by just eating to live anymore. They have already passed that, and now they're trying to find other ways and come up with things that they can be in control. I mean, Miss Henry surely should know that 400 years of slavery has expired, and the coronavirus, for me, I can say, my opinion, that this thing was in the making. The president of Ghana had welcomed the year of return, which was 2019, for any Africans who want to go back to the land of their birthright. That is the continent of Africa. Today, they are working on building a Wakanda city for people. And
building a what, sorry?
A Wakanda city.
For who?
For people from the diaspora. The president of Ghana. You see, what we don't know about, we just go along with what is. The president of Ghana has donated land for anyone from the diaspora. And Mr. Cornelius, I'm going to come back if I do get in, and I'm going to outline platforms that we in the diaspora can link up to become members. Again, not forcing anyone to say, hey, pack up and leave.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would encourage you to lead the charge.
I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what I can. I have a platform, but I'm saying that we have to recognize that there's a warfare and it is targeted to us. The majority is us. They're killing us because they're seeing less of them and more of we. We know that. What else can they throw out there? What else can they throw out? And about the vaccine, we're taking the vaccine. Who knows what's going to happen 25 years down the road? What if, and we know also, Mr. Cornelius, that the creature had put vaccine in India. Today, we have so many children are born in India with deformities and crippled.
Right, we
by the
understand.
thousands.
We understand, but remember, everybody is not the same.
Yes, but that's why I am causing people to think.
Well,
You can analyze for yourself.
right, I understand. I think some people are indeed making informed decision. They're seeking information about the vaccine. Yes, you may have some people who are just taking it, but most people who I have interacted with, they went out and they sought, advice on the vaccine, whether they thought they should take the vaccine. That is their personal choice. If they feel
Yes,
that they
yes,
should take it,
Cornelius, but also remember,
hold
we
on.
have to
If they
take
feel that they should take it after receiving the relevant and necessary information, then that's their choice.
Okay, fine. Now, let us just, and none of us going to fast forward to, let's say, 2030 or 2045. But let us just say that we just have, in the years to come, a lot of kids being born with deformities, What are we going to say? How are we going to trace it? Would we be able to say, oh, this is from the vaccine? We have seen what happened in years past, what's been going on with this global warfare. It is down to our doorstep now. So yes, we have to start to think and analyze and make decisions.
But with
That's
that,
what I'm saying.
understand what you're saying. But with that being said, what are you saying?
Well, I'm just saying that we need to be aware of the hands that is in control and pay attention to what they've been doing over the years and to our present time right now. We need to wake up. It's a global warfare against us, no doubt about it. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, caller, for your contribution. We're still taking calls here. It is 11:55. You're approaching the 12 o'clock end time. I've said if you want to take the vaccine, that is your business. I'm going to put it as bluntly as possible. Take the vaccine. You go and you seek the necessary information. You speak with a medical doctor and you get some advice. Then you take the vaccine. We are taking calls. We have another call on the line. Caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Cornelius.
Good morning.
And how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Yes, we thank for, even though climatic conditions is what we will say overcast in terms of the clouds are predominantly blocking the ultraviolet rays of the sun. And one of those days, 2 days are alike. And my thoughts on how our society has been stringent on is that apart from medical aspects, medical procedures, it is also, generally speaking, we deal with what we call symptoms as opposed to dealing with the real cause of what might have been caused. In economics and in medicine, that is what we deal with. And so, when we refer to like something like what we used to talk in the days of the elders, a guab, so we tend to put a band-aid on it as opposed to get into the root of it and try to eliminate it.
Yeah, caller, I'm not hearing you clearly.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes. You have to speak up. I'm not hearing you clearly.
So I am saying that we, as a society, we tend to deal with what we call the symptoms as opposed to the root cause of matters. And why I say so is because throughout modern procedures, we have advanced, and that is what has built our society. But yet we tend to ignore the fact that we as a people, and not all people, because there are substratums of what, humanity would have been. What you call it, mutations, what have you. But we are very, very, very old. And for the fact that we are here today is testimony towards our longevity. And things that has come our way, yes, modern technology would have assisted us. But along the way, modern technology has been manipulated also. We are in a technological age that they call 4G and 5G and 6G, and how far these G's is going to go to, we don't know. And so it's like you're dealing with a coin, and there are two aspects of that coin. Now, for whatever reason there is, one will hear one aspect of the coin, and I could consider a political aspect in our affairs, and like the Democrats and the Republicans. Their ideology might differ, but the common root of their objective is to rule a nation or to do things in governance. On the one hand, we go to the lab and we come up with these breakthroughs in sciences. But on the other hand, things that persist, things that are in our reality today, we tend to don't go to the lab. And we tend to shy away from where the origins of these things come from. Are there laboratory experiments that probably aren't bad, and they got exposed and got open to us? And so these are the things that we are facing. So here is it. We're going to the lab here for this, for a breakthrough, to heal the ailments of us. But yet, we ignore when we go into the lab for other things that create the illness in the first place. And then now the second aspect, we run to the lab for the cure, for the symptoms, and not the cause, and ignore the other aspect of the lab where we run to for. And in all of this, we forget. We who grew up with the Bible know that Daniel had to stay out, and the others, just a biblical narrative. Why did Daniel stay out? And in the final analysis, when certain things was to be revealed to the hierarchy, those in authority, they still had to go back to Daniel to find out what is this. And so this is where we are today. Not seeing the scientific aspect of one thing, but basing on the scientific aspect of another thing, which is supposed to be, quote-unquote, the cure. Not even the cure, but the remedy for the symptoms. Try to remedy the symptoms. And this is where we are. So in high places, there are discussions as to what these things. We know a lot of things in nature has been manipulated for whatever cause. Your earlier caller talked about the weaponization. We know Odysseus in Massachusetts had a good cause when he pricked himself with the acacia as towards the illness, and thus brought about modern inoculation. We all know that, yes, from a humble person who meant good to humanity, but not so today. I say today that the sun is not visible in its glory because of the climatic condition. But we have heard of mad people who want to block the rays of the sun. Why would I want to block the rays of the sun? It would not be globally anyhow. It would just affect certain geographical space for a moment in time.
Right, caller. We're running out of time, so
Thanks for listening.
Get to the right. Thank you for your contribution. We're now at 12 o'clock. We're going to take a break for the headline news. We'll come back at 12:30 to continue our program. You were listening to Voices on WinFM 98.9. I was your host for the first half, Devon Cornelius. Stay tuned.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and Development Bank.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Everyone struggles at times. Even we too have our own struggles. Do you have a loan at the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis and have fallen behind on your payments because of financial difficulties? Have your financial situation changed? If your answer is yes, visit the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis or call 465-2288, extension 1101 or 469-5416 to make an appointment to discuss our debt evaluation and restructuring plan with one of our qualified officers. We are committed to working with you to make a sustained positive difference in your life.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The WinFM Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and Development Bank.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects or sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the WIN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Devon Cornelius.
Making the headlines.
St. Kitts and Nevis COVID-19 cases now at 61.
Local schools back to online instruction amid COVID-19 outbreak. Health regulators in St. Lucia continue to caution against the use of ivermectin for the treatment of COVID-19 symptoms. Authorities citing leading medical agencies around the globe, including the World Health Organization, warned that there is no conclusive evidence of the efficacy of the anti-parasitic against COVID-19. Guyana's President Irfan Ali on Tuesday, May 25th, accused the City Council of grave mismanagement of Georgetown. Internationally, the Gaza Strip is facing a new wave of coronavirus cases, worsened from Israel's 11-day bombing of the territory. The World Health Organization has voiced concern about the tens of thousands of displaced Palestinians in UN shelters unable to socially distance. The conflict also destroyed several hospitals and killed medics. 250 new infections and 5 deaths were reported on Tuesday. Now, the details.
The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis has recorded yet again another case of the coronavirus disease. Chief Medical Officer CMO Dr. Hazel Laws made that announcement during her appearance on the May 25th edition of Leadership Matters.
Within the last 24 hours, we have reported one additional case. This new case is referred to as case number 61, who is a national and is linked to cases number 51 and 52. Case 61 is in isolation.
According to CMO Dr. Laws, these cases include 7 children from the ages of 3 to 15 years and 9 adults from the ages of 33 to 49 years. All 16 active cases are stable and are being monitored. The Nevis Island administration is accepting applications from suitably qualified persons to fill the positions as quarantine compliance officers.
We have just put out calls. I think we are seeking to find 12 officers for our protocol enforcement on Nevis. What had happened hitherto is that the police, a lot of that burden fell on the police. And so we're now trying to get 12 civilians, so to speak, to come forward. Applications are to go to the Commissioner of Police, and those individuals would spearhead now the effort in terms of enforcement on Nevis. The police have done, I think, a good job. They have shut down a lot of events that were not in compliance with the requirements, and we have, since this outbreak that we've experienced on our neighboring island, we have, of course, urged that protocols which might have lapsed, that people get serious again.
That was the Honorable Mark Brantley, Premier and Senior Minister of Health in the Nevis Island Administration. Applicants will be responsible for performing initial assessment of business premises to ensure COVID-19 safety measures are implemented, carrying out routine inspections at the premises of various organizations and quarantine sites, recording complaints reported, daily management of all quarantine sites, and providing physical security for quarantine sites. Application forms can be collected from and submitted to Force Personnel Officer at the Charlestown Police Station or email Force Personnel Office at police.kn.
The Federation is grappling with what it feared most since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic: community spread. On Tuesday, May 26th, the Federation recorded one additional case, bringing the total number of active cases to 16, according to Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws during the broadcast of Leadership Matters. The most active cases recorded in St. Kitts and Nevis since the start of the pandemic in 2020. Apart from the imposed curfew from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. for the next 2 weeks, as announced by the Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris during an address to the nation Tuesday, the biggest change was the closure of all schools in the Federation for 2 weeks.
Schools will remain closed for 2 weeks in the first instance to facilitate contact tracing, testing, and other necessary precautions consistent with the COVID-19 Prevention and Control Act. Parents are advised to keep children safely at home,
explained Dr. Harris. Continued instruction for students will be given through online means using Microsoft Teams. During the Whit holiday weekend, the Federation was made aware on Sunday, May 23rd, that the Sandy Point Primary School would be closed for 2 weeks and the students, along with all members of their household, would self-quarantine for 2 weeks. After a meeting on Monday, May 24th, inclusive of the COVID-19 Task Force, the federal government, and the Nevis Island Administration, the closure extended to all schools being closed and only those students who were tested required to self-quarantine at home with their entire family. Additionally, Dr. Harris informed of the postponement of exam administration during the period of closure.
No local examinations will be administered during this period of school closure. The Ministry of Education has already begun to engage CXC to discuss alternative arrangements for any examinations scheduled during this time. Students, teachers, and parents will be subsequently informed of the relevant decisions taken by CXC. Teachers will engage students from grades 3 and higher via the established online modality of MS Teams,
said Dr. Harris. This comes on the heels of a statement made by UNICEF to reconsider the administration of CSEC and CAPE exams throughout the region. In the statement, it was suggested that, quote, if the exams were to be implemented as decided, our main concern is the low level of preparedness, academically and psychologically, of many of the thousands of 16 to 18-year-old students across the region to sit the exams, end quote. With the closure of schools and the move to online instruction, this suggestion from UNICEF hits closer to home. Previously, CXC announced implementations to help students with preparedness for the exams. 1. Providing the topic for the long answer paper, paper 2, 5 weeks prior to the commencement of the exams. 2. Reducing requirements for the SBAs and extending submission dates for some subjects. And 3. Facilitating deferments to 2022 if students meet specific criteria. And 4. The currently discussed further postponement of the examination date. However, based on the statement from UNICEF, several issues still exist even with the above changes. Quote, no change has been made on the multiple choice paper, paper 1, which will still cover the entire syllabus, and no clear structure was shared as to how those students who meet deferral requirements and choose to defer will be supported to sit the exams at a later date in 2022, end quote. The Caribbean Union of Teachers submitted a proposal to UNICEF on how the CSEC and CAPE exams could be adapted and were suggested for implementation to the Examination Council. 1. Paper 1 should only test rationalized topics that are tested in Paper 2 and not the entire syllabi, as the said syllabi would not have been completed. 2. For Paper 2, remove all hurdles including compulsory questions and ensure that no one question item should test 2 or more content areas. And 3. Extend the start of examination by 3 weeks and release the rationalized topics immediately to students and teachers in order to facilitate effective preparation. Wynne attempted to get a comment on this matter from the Ministry of Education but was unable to get a statement by News Time. Health regulators in St. Lucia continue to caution against the use of ivermectin for the treatment of COVID-19 symptoms. Authorities citing leading medical agencies around the globe, including the World Health Organization, warned that there is no conclusive evidence of the efficacy of the anti-parasitic against COVID-19. HTS St. Lucia has that report.
The heated debate over the use of the anti-parasitic drug ivermectin in the treatment and prevention of COVID-19 rages on, with one of the leading local advocates for its use in the fight against the pandemic, Dr. Gilbertha St. Rose, continuing to speak in glowing terms about the drug.
And we are so happy and we thank God that we have ivermectin, a well-aged and tested remedy to give us such fantastic results in the treatment of COVID-19.
But the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belma George, has pushed back strongly against the use of ivermectin in the treatment and prevention of COVID-19. She says neither the science nor the world's reputable medical institutions support its use in combating and preventing COVID-19.
I would not authorize or be a part of anything that's going to expose our population to a treatment that has not gone through the full clinical trial to manage an illness. It has been shown to treat parasites, and that should be the use. The FDA has also put out a very strong statement last week, making it very clear that the approval is only for the treatment of parasites and it should not be used at any point to manage COVID-19.
The president of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, Dr. Merle Clark, weighed in on the debate. She says the SLMDA strongly supports the position of the Chief Medical Officer and, by extension, the Ministry of Health.
We'd like to say categorically that as a St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, we have not and never have recommended the use of ivermectin for prevention or treatment of COVID-19. Multiple trials have been done and no trial has shown it to be effective. No reputable agency has recommended the use of ivermectin. The reality is ivermectin is approved for use as anti-parasitic, and it can be used in animals as well.
For more than 40 years, the drug ivermectin has been used to effectively and safely treat parasites in both humans and animals. The drug has been touted as a cheap and effective treatment for COVID-19. However, reputable health institutions are not supporting its use for either the prevention or treatment of COVID-19, arguing that the findings of studies the world over suggest it is not effective against COVID-19. But Dr. Gilbertha St. Rose and other promoters of ivermectin disagree. Stanley Lucien for the HTS News Force.
Guyana's President Irfan Ali on Tuesday, May 25th, accused the City Council of grave mismanagement of Georgetown. Guyana News source has the details.
In response to recent statements by the mayor of Georgetown about the central government withholding resources from the municipality, President Irfan Ali this afternoon said he will not allow the government to be blamed for the mismanagement of the city by the Georgetown City Council. City Mayor Ubraj Narain has complained that the government has been withholding much-needed financial resources from the council, leaving it in a cash-strapped position. But in a statement this afternoon, President Ali fired back at the mayor and said while the government is committed to the development and maintenance of the nation's capital, the government will not be taking any blame for the city's financial problems.
This government cares tremendously about our city. But we will not allow ourselves to be used as a scapegoat in the city not fulfilling its responsibility and mandate, or in the city converting everything into political opportunism or a political football.
According to the president, the government is committed to ensuring the full restoration of City Hall and has already budgeted the finances for that project. But he noted that the City Council needs to take on its responsibilities and fulfill them.
Whilst the city is not fulfilling its responsibility in the maintenance of the environment, in the cleaning of drainage, in the maintenance of infrastructure, the central government has embarked on a massive program to clean the city, to clean the roadways, to establish roundabouts, to maintain roadways, to maintain drainage. We invested in pumps to ensure, as far as possible, we improve the drainage situation in the city to prevent flooding. These are necessary investments because as a government, the city reflects who we are as a country too.
The president said the mismanagement of the city has been an issue for several years, and that problem cannot be passed over to the government. With a number of communities faced with the piling up of garbage and blocked drains and unkempt carpets, the president said his government has started to engage communities to get the work done themselves, and the government will assist and give contracts to those communities.
We're engaging the communities to get community workers in cleaning up various wards in the city. We're working on a macro plan for South Georgetown to ensure we improve the drainage there, to prevent flooding, raising of the roads. Very soon, our engineering design team will be in that community to consult and to find a solution that is permanent.
President Ali also said the City Council has failed over the years to present audited financial statements in keeping with the law. He said the last audited statements were presented in 2004.
And central government has a responsibility to ensure that resources are spent for what they are budgeted for, to ensure that there is accountability and transparency in the way we spend resources.
2 months ago, President Ali met with the mayor and his deputy and made a commitment that the government will be making an advance payment of taxes to City Hall to the tune of $100 million. The money is still to be paid over to the City Council, and the city mayor has also complained that the government has not released the full subvention for the municipality. Mayor Narain has also accused the government of locking the council out of its plans to carry out maintenance and other works here in Georgetown.
We now bring you these international reports.
Midat Amasi is struggling for breath. Like much of Gaza's population, he'd spent days at home in fear of Israeli bombing raids. The trouble was he'd been infected with COVID-19 and was getting worse day by day. Now his condition, doctors say, is very serious.
He was infected at home during the war. He had coronavirus symptoms, but he couldn't come to the hospital because he was scared of the shelling. We've had many cases like this that we've been dealing with.
In another ward in Gaza City's Shifa Hospital, we find Majid Saleh, a doctor turned patient. Recently out of intensive care, it wasn't COVID-19 that put him there, it was an Israeli airstrike. The security camera in Gaza's Ministry of Health building shows the moment he was blasted out of his office. The building wasn't hit directly. This was collateral damage from a strike across the street. But it was more than enough to shut down Gaza's only COVID-19 test lab. Testing finally resumed at less than half the previous capacity on Monday. As well as keeping people at home, the airstrikes also drove tens of thousands out and into temporary refuge in school buildings. There was some rapid flow testing done in places like this. The positivity rates were as high as 50%.
No distancing, no masks, no protection, no hygiene. All of this created a bad situation. We know that corona spreads rapidly and that we have the British variant here in Gaza. 5 cases would have been enough to infect all 4,000 people in one school.
The Health Ministry is worried about the prospects of what it calls a disastrous third wave of coronavirus, which is why this is so necessary. 48,600 doses of the Pfizer vaccine delivered under the COVAX International Alliance, straight to Gaza's only ultra-cold freezer in the Rantisi hospital. In comparison to the vaccination campaign so far in Gaza, this represents a major delivery and a much-needed one. But in comparison to the need across Gaza, especially right now, it remains a drop in the ocean. This is far from the mass vaccination campaign seen just a short drive and a world away in Israel. So far, less than 2% of Gaza's population has been fully vaccinated. While Gaza has been focused on the immediate life and death concerns of a brutal but short war, a longer-term threat may well have been gathering pace. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, Gaza.
A Dutch court has ordered oil giant Shell to cut its carbon emissions by nearly 50% by 2030. Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth brought the case, and it's being hailed as a major victory for environmentalists. Shell unsuccessfully argued that governments, not companies, are responsible for meeting targets under the Paris climate deal. The Dutch verdict could have major implications for similar cases around the world. Let's go live now to The Hague. Al Jazeera's Step Vasten is there. Step, what does this mean for Shell?
Well, this is seen as a landmark ruling. There was an outburst of joy here earlier in the court when the verdict was read out. Even some people were in tears. A cake is going around. 7 organizations, environmental groups, and 17,000 Dutch citizens have filed this case. And there was, of course, some optimism that they could win this case because the same court had ruled 2 years earlier against the Dutch state, a similar kind of verdict. But of course, when the verdict was actually read, they were so joyful. I'm actually joined here now by climate law expert Laura Burgers, who will give us some more insights into this ruling. Thank you for joining us. What does this important ruling now mean?
Well, of course, we have only heard the judge reading a summary. We didn't read the judgment yet, but we can safely say it's a groundbreaking judgment. And what it does mean is that Shell has a legal obligation to do its share against climate change.
So human rights here are at stake. Can you explain what that
means? Yes, so indeed, against the Dutch state in 2018 and 2020, 2019, the court here in The Hague said that the Dutch state can violate human rights by not doing enough against climate change. So that human rights can be impacted by dangerous climate change was already sort of, set in stone. But now that these human rights obligations equally apply to private entities such as Shell, that is actually quite groundbreaking.
And what does that mean? Does Shell have to completely overhaul its business now for 2030 because they have to cut 45%, nearly half of their emissions?
Exactly. So the court said that in 2030, Shell has to cut 45% of its emissions compared to the year 2019. And not only has Shell to cut its own emissions, but it also must do its best to reduce emissions of its consumers using Shell's products.
So including people driving cars, getting gasoline?
Yes, exactly.
So they have to go completely renewable then in a very short period of time?
Well, that is likely. The court said it's not an obligation of absolute emission reduction, so they can also compensate perhaps in a way so that it's a net reduction in the end.
We're talking now about Shell, but what could this mean for other companies, oil companies around the world?
Well, I think we can safely assume that Shell will appeal this judgment, but the judgment is already binding, so even though it will appeal, it has to act on it, and that means that it's very likely that other such cases will arise.
Are there any sanctions? I mean, how can a court enforce these kind of rulings?
Yes, so a court can then put penalties if Shell is not living up to this judgment.
Thank you very much. We have yet to hear from Shell. The lawyers just left the court as soon as the verdict was read out. They have promised some kind of response. And as Laura Burger said, we are expecting them, of course, to appeal. And maybe also Friends of the Earth and all the environmental groups will appeal because some issues were not clarified just yet. So this case isn't over yet, but of course everyone who has filed this case is very, very cheerful now.
Al Jazeera, Step Vassen reporting live from The Hague. Step, thanks.
Tokyo's Olympics organisers are meeting to address increasing pressure for the Games to be cancelled. One of the official partners, the Asahi Shimbun newspaper, is warning about the dangers of the coronavirus and pointing to the widespread public opposition. Last week, a union representing medics said it strongly opposed the event, which is scheduled to start in less than 2 months. Only around 2% of Japan has actually been vaccinated. We'll talk about this with Jeff Kingston now in Tokyo. He is the Director of Asian Studies at Temple University, Japan. Jeff, does anyone want these games to go ahead?
The government seems determined. So damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, and the people are scratching their heads. Why? Only 14% of Japanese favor hosting the games, and about 80% want them postponed or canceled. And we have a who's who of CEOs speaking out against the games. One of them called them a suicide mission. And all public health experts believe that this is recklessly endangering the health of the Japanese people. So, yes, there are good reasons why people wonder why Prime Minister Suga seems so determined to go ahead.
Tell me about, and tell our viewers indeed, about Asahi Shimbun, the newspaper. How much influence does it hold?
Oh, it's huge. It's like the New York Times of Japan, or The Guardian. Is highly respected, generally on the liberal side of the spectrum. But the Asahi, has a stake in all this, and they've just called out the authorities and said, it doesn't make sense. The vaccination campaign here, the rollout has been a dribble. Only just over 2% of Japanese have gotten fully vaccinated. And this compares to like 40% in the US, 34% in the UK. So really, Japan is a laggard on vaccinations. And suddenly they're going to be bringing in 60 to 80,000 visitors from all over the world for the Olympics. There are good reasons people believe this could potentially be a super spreader event.
Starting to wonder if there's some sort of misguided, and that's my word, misguided pride going on here. The fact that the games were cancelled last year, that they were put forward to this year, and it would just be some sort of great symbol for Japan to show to the world that, look, we can do this despite all this opposition and concerns?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think perhaps there is some misguided pride there. I think that also they want to hold the sort of global coming out party for the end of the pandemic, but a lot of people here are worried that they're declaring mission accomplished a little bit too soon. I think more importantly is money. They've spent about $28 billion preparing for the Olympics. NBC has paid $3 billion to the IOC for television rights. And so money is driving this decision, and this seems inconsistent with the Olympic spirit, and that has caused grave concern among the Japanese people who feel that they are being treated like guinea pigs. So they are very skeptical about the government's assurances that safety protocols will keep them safe and that they can conduct this massive games in a bubble.
A decision driven by money. Who would have thought? Jeff Kingston, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
You were listening to the WinFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were:
St. Kitts and Nevis COVID-19 cases now at 61.
Local schools back to online instruction amid COVID-19 outbreak. Health regulators in St. Lucia continue to caution against the use of ivermectin for the treatment of COVID-19 symptoms. Authorities citing leading medical agencies around the globe, including the World Health Organization, warn that there is no conclusive evidence of the efficacy of the anti-parasitic against COVID-19. Guyana's President Irfan Ali on Tuesday, May 25th, accused the City Council of grave mismanagement of Georgetown. Internationally, the Gaza Strip is facing a new wave of coronavirus cases, worsened from Israel's 11-day bombing of the territory. The World Health Organization has voiced concern about the tens of thousands of displaced Palestinians in UN shelters unable to socially distance. The conflict also destroyed several hospitals and killed medics. 250 new infections and 5 deaths were reported on Tuesday. Thank you for listening.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The WinFM Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and Development Bank.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Everyone struggles at times. Even we too have our own struggles. Do you have a loan at the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis and have fallen behind on your payments because of financial difficulties? Have your financial situation changed? If your answer is yes, visit the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis or call 465-2288, extension 1101 or 469-5416 to make an appointment to discuss our debt evaluation and restructuring plan with one of our qualified officers. We are committed to working with you to make a sustained positive difference in your life.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Everything's gotta go. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go. Clearance sale is happening now. All 2018, 2019, and 2020 models gotta go. Yes! Come to Horsford's Automotive and get $10,000 off select 2020 models. That's right. Horsford's Automotive is making room for 2021 by offering $10,000 off select 2020 models. And that's not all. Come now and get 0% down payment. No payment until May 2021. $500 in free groceries, free servicing for 1 year, free bill of sale, free tinting, free registration, free accessories, and free licensing. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go clearance sale. The biggest clearance sale event of the year. Select 2020 vehicles priced to go. Everything gotta go. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back to Voices on 1FM 98.9. We have some callers who have been waiting. Let's take this call. We have another caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air. Okay, we seem to have lost these callers. You can call us back at 466. We have another caller. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon. I just want to encourage, as I did last week, Wednesday, that people should go out and get vaccinated. Are you more convinced now?
Hello?
I know we had a discussion. Are you more convinced now? I know that you and I had a discussion last Wednesday about being vaccinated. But anyway, that's not the real point. The point is that we see that vaccination saves lives, and I hope that people will be motivated to go out and get vaccinated. I heard some people saying they're waiting for the Cuban vaccine, but they haven't said if they know the efficacy of it and how well it will turn out, and no one knows yet. And I'm just surprised that people would put so much confidence in something that they do not know anything about as yet. Apart from that, we cannot close the borders forever. I'm just find it interesting that some of the people who were saying open the border when there were no vaccine as yet, and are now saying we shouldn't have the borders open. The truth is that we cannot close the borders forever. Now that we have the vaccine, we have something to work with. And I have to give kudos to the team that have done tremendously well. St. Kitts and Nevis has done, if not the best, one of the best with this COVID-19 management. And we should be thankful for the very low levels of COVID-19 persons who were infected with COVID-19. Very, very low in comparison. So, but I think that they might have gone a little wrong is that there was a little message towards mandatory that was coming out, so people, were against that. I've never heard them say they're going to. Some people said that they were going to make it mandatory. I think Antigua did that, but not St. Kitts and Nevis. But I think the messaging is a little better now. We encourage everyone, and when you look at how badly things can go if we do not vaccine, as we see the example, there is nothing else to convince anyone how important vaccination is. The importance is that the more people get vaccinated, the less community spread that we saw going on. And we can go back to a level of normalcy. No one wants to go back to lockdown and all that, and and be restricted the way we are. So please, everyone, go out and get vaccinated. Thanks so much.
Thank you, caller, for your contribution to Voices. We have another caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Devon.
Good afternoon.
Hope you had your lunch.
Yes, I did.
Oh, well, God bless you. Good afternoon to all the listeners at home and abroad. Now, I just want to make a short response to my two good African-centric brothers. And sometimes things are implied. They are said directly and they're implied. Now, we talk about 400 years. Now, I don't know anybody who worked 400 years in a place and build it up and then just walk away from it. Our ancestors, my grandparents and yours, helped to build up St. Kitts and Nevis. 400 years, generations have worked and died. And we have people telling us we must get up and leave it and go to Africa. Now, I love Africa, but we got to be realistic. In the Caribbean was slavery. Why should we get up and leave it and go? Let them ask what happened in Ethiopia. Selassie gave them land where? They are not assimilated into the population. They are not. When our people come from Guyana, Jamaica, wherever, they are assimilated. We don't put them and say, well, you all just go over there. Go in some bush and start to clear and clean. And until we're able, just like anybody else, to go to Africa and decide where we're going to do what we're going to do, I think we're dreaming. When Marcus Garvey came here in 1937, he declared that our island is our Garden of Eden. Now explain to me who's going to leave the Garden of Eden to go somewhere else, no matter where. No matter where, we complain about people coming in and they're taking over, but we are advocating to leave.
Well, that is why I said
It don't make sense.
for the person to lead the charge.
It does not make sense. My parents work on Buckles Estate. Maybe between my mother and my father must be nearly put in 100 years. And so I must get up and go leave it. And then when we come back, we see the Chinese, the Japanese. What are we going to say? I know you want, I admire and I appreciate the information you give. And another thing that maybe some of you don't know, 400 years ago and 400 years now, black people have advanced as much as and maybe more than other nations, other people. There are black scientists working on corona and everything, you know. We are cannot, oh well, we are the victims. Escapism is what we're preaching. We are the victims. In every sphere, black people working in high and low positions. We run in our countries. We rule in our school, our universities, everything. Now, if we take more time to help to build up the confidence and the skills in our young people, and our men in particular, we won't be so willing to escape. If we use our time, look, you're black, black have talent, black have intelligence, therefore this is trying to escape responsibility. Is not black, and oh, they're trying to kill us. So what are we, sheep? Blacks in all these top universities, wherever you go, so no black person have any sense. No black person have any sense. In case you don't know, experiments are being carried out at the University of the West Indies, Mona. And the same corona that you ought to be talking about. We have black scientists in the Caribbean. Look at our doctors, black, born here. So all of us are so stupid. Oh, they're trying to kill us. I mean, that kind of rhetoric was for not even 1930, because 1935 they stood up for the right. So all the work that all our heroes put in, Bradshaw, Southwell, France, who else? Daniel from Nevis and Dr. Simmons. All the work they put in, we still back 400 years ago. We're supposed to stand up here and fight for our right and make the country great. What are we contributing to the country? Are we educating our people? It's nice to know where we came from, because you must know where you come from. But you must know where you're going. And we're not saying that, you know, oh, you can't go to Africa. They're giving us land. They're not giving us land in the city. Ask the Rastas them where they put them. Ask them. You think the African going to allow you to come in and take over the country? You see what happened in Liberia? You know about Liberia?
Mm-hmm. Tell me.
Blacks were encouraged, even with Marcus Garvey, to go to Liberia. And they took over the people country, and they have had wars. So if you think that when we walk in, all of us must go, you don't think they're keeping the eye on you. Because they know we come from a developed country. We're not going to leave our country and go to Africa, go live in any bush. We want to live in the city like everybody. We want to be fully integrated. So please, try and promote your country. Try and promote your people, and stop this thing about 400 years ago. Well, this is 400 years forward on, and we have come a long way. You know, y'all make black people look stupid, you know. Every time I hear them, they make black people look stupid. We can't think. Everybody think on us. Because we encouraging it. We are encouraging it. Devon, you advance yourself, will you? Advance yourself.
Thanks,
Miss. Go college.
Thank you, Miss Henry. We want
to
take another call.
Educate yourself.
Yeah, we're going to take another call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Let's take another call. No callers at this time. Thank you. Okay, we have another call on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Nice to know. Let me say, from my position, I can't speak for anybody else, but I don't think there is any returning to normalcy the way that we remembered it. Mr. Host, I don't know if you are familiar with this. I don't know if I should call it ad, or whatever name is given to it. Those who are in that field, they have the technical jargons to describe these stuff and so on. But right there on Win, I hear this ad where this sounds like a guy that tells us Caribbean tourism is dead at sea and is wholly dependent on what's next in America, Europe, and Canada. Have you heard that before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Now, I don't know how many persons have truly listened to what was said, digested it, and understood. What this person is telling us, your tourism is finito. It's dead. Nothing you can do to revive it on your own. Whatever Europe, America, and Canada says or dictates, that's what will be handed down to you. That's how I understand it. Now, you see this COVID thing that they're talking about and this vaccine and all that sort of thing? Why do you think you have so much a hullabaloo around it? It's because of what's next that's happening in America, Europe, and maybe Canada. That is the next. That is determining whether the ships come or not. Whether we have it or not, they determine the next. You see? They have told you this. They have told you this. So they call the shot. So in terms of normalcy, I don't see if we're going to ever reach back there at all. And the thing about it is, we are dictated to that you have to have a certain percentage of the population or citizens taking the vaccine. Now, I guess maybe after that is attained, then there is a promise of whether ships will come. I don't know. I just assume. I guess from this end, let's say the bargain is kept. Who is to say on the other end it will be kept? Who is to say that there won't be more demand? Who is to say that they will not determine some other what's next? You see where I'm getting at, Mr. Host?
I'm listening.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand. You understand?
Yes.
So who is to say that? Because we do all of this. You see what they did with when I think they had 9/11 shortly after. You see what they had a lot of these Caribbean governments do to their port and their waterways and all of that, and then in the end they still turn around and they seem like they had no satisfaction or whatever. They still determine, this was this and this was that, and they don't like this and they don't like that. You see, so after all of that capital was invested. Next thing. In terms of knowing about this vaccine, I think I heard something before the break for lunch. From my end, I will encourage persons not to go out and seek advice from people, because depending on which side of the fence that person is, yes, on which side of the fence that person is, you're going to get a response based on what that person's perception of what they think things are and what they think it should be and how they think people should behave. So you're going to get that person's individualistic
right. When you sorry, not to cut you off, but when you said to get advice from someone, are you referring to anyone or a specific group of people?
No, anybody. It matters not. It could be a king, because a king will have his own beliefs pattern depending on which side he's on.
Right.
All right?
But what I was trying to say,
say,
sorry, not to cut you off, what I was trying to say is that if you're going to go to seek advice about the vaccine, I recommend you speak with a medical doctor.
Even a medical doctor.
But how do you make an informed decision?
I'm coming to that. Even a medical doctor, all right, his beliefs or his perception is still tainted by what is placed on him for him to believe, what is handed down to him, what is given to him. Let's assume that that medical doctor has a source. Okay? Now I'm going to leave it there. Now let me say what I have to say to come up and tie in that. Instead of persons going to seek advice, I will encourage persons to go and seek the information and knowledge for themselves. This is the age of technology. The Bible itself tells us, in the last days, knowledge shall increase. There is information out there that prior, maybe once ago, years to year, a lot of these things were under lock and key, they were covered. But just like how the Lord says in the book of Isaiah, when he says to the north wind, release, and to the south wind, hold not back. They have to release because the Lord is the one who is in control of them. They ain't control themselves. So it is now that we are living. Information and knowledge shall increase. And we have a gadget in our hand, and we have whatever thing out there that is called technology. There are a lot of sources out there. All we have to do is to ask God for wisdom to sort through some of these things. But there are persons outside there who has the information and they are talking. But persons are encouraged to ignore this other end. But we have to take the good and the bad, and we have to sort it through. And then we come to our decision in the middle. Because whatever decision a person makes, whether it is forced or it's of his or her own volition, the thing about it is the conclusion will be said to them, you are the one who made that decision. I never forced you. I never forced you. And there are information out there. We talk about vaccination. Vaccination is not bad. It has its place. But I don't know why people like to group everything under one heading. Right now, here what we have. It cannot be grouped under the same heading. It cannot be grouped under the same heading. There are some things that, that I have really access in terms of information. I will not say, because I have already understood the mindset of the people that we have around here. Okay? And finally, before I go, what I don't understand is that there's some of our persons, citizens and so on, they're going around with this scare tactic. And listen, it is very depressing to many people. There are a lot of people who are already going through a lot. They're going through a lot. The least they want is to hear big people going outside there and pumping a lot of fear into people. When you did it. No, in the middle of what they talk about was the pandemic last year, coming up to now. We were told that this country doesn't have any COVID. There are no deaths. And whatever we had here was what was brought in. Well, okay, yes, all along people have been told, okay, the borders will be open. Fair, fine enough. I'm not talking about that. But even in that midst there, when this information was put out by the task force, you still hear people going around, jumping and killing fear in people. Listen, people are protecting their own mental health. And to me, that's why so many people have switched off right now. Because if they don't, they will go out and attack people. They will go out and attack people. Everybody's not mentally strong. The way that a lot of our people are going around with this thing is the wrong way. It is wrong. This reminds me of what I read in the Bible with the 10 spies that were sent out to spy out the land. When the Lord told them, listen, this is your land. I have already made this earth. I've given it to you for an inheritance. But your enemies are in it. I'm sending you over there. Spy out the land because the land is already yours. I have given it to you already. And when the 12 went over, 10 come back. Yes, the land is a good land. It has grapes, big as our fist, and, they speak well in terms of that. But there are giants in the land, and we ourselves look like grasshoppers in their sight. And every time I hear these people go on this fear trip in this place, you understand? That's why you see I don't really turn on radio as such. I try to keep abreast with what is happening. The team have something to say. I try to keep abreast, but other than that, a lot of this fear thing, I can't take it. It's very depressing.
Right.
Because you can get people to do what they're supposed to do without all of this fear. Nobody's saying that this thing is not, what you see in other countries, we haven't reached to that. But the way that some people going out, you think that the sky is falling. It's falling, and it's already fallen on people's head, people being crushed. But as the Bible said again, many shall die and few will remain. You see, this fear is a terrible thing. Fear itself damages the immune system because fear allows the body to trigger chemical substances that works contrary to the body. So I please, all of this thing, I think people need to now come and encourage people when they come in and talk. Forget about all of this fear tactics. It's not working. People are switching off because they're protecting their own mental health and their physical health.
Right.
I'll continue to listen.
Thank you, Carla.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Let us take a short break to say thank you to our sponsors. We'll be back shortly to continue our program. This is Voices on 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Stay tuned.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag specials for May 28th through June 2nd. IGA peanut butter, creamy or crunchy, $7.99. Essential everyday lasagnas, $4.49. Essential everyday pasta sauces, $6.99. General Mills cereals, $15.99 each. IGA salad dressings, $5.99 each. Almond breeze milk, $12.99. And now our very low weekly value deals. Planters dry roasted peanuts or lightly salted, $11.99. Cream of wheat, large, $11.99. Almond Hammer detergent, just $13.99. 20-ounce Gatorade, $2.99. Yoplait yogurt, $3.39. IGA Honey Bears, $12.99 each. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
Everything's gotta go. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go. Clearance sale is happening now. All 2018, 2019, and 2020 models gotta go. Yes! Come to Horsford's Automotive and get $10,000 off select 2020 models. That's right. Horsford's Automotive is making room for 2021 by offering $10,000 off select 2020 models. And that's not all. Come now and get 0% down payment. No payment until May 2021. $500 in free groceries, free servicing for 1 year, free bill of sale, free tinting, free registration, free accessories, and free licensing. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go clearance sale. The biggest clearance sale event of the year. Select 2020 vehicles priced to go. Everything gotta go. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. Welcome back to Voices on 1FM 98.9. It is
10 minutes past the hour of 1 here in our studios, and we're still taking calls. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Yes, Cornelius, good afternoon. You know, I said I was going to bring across a certain platform as to where those who are interested can either familiarize themselves with what is going on. I am not asking anybody to pack up and go to Africa, but here's something for you all to think about. Don't we have Americans live here and having their money working for them in America? Now here's a platform for African in the diaspora. It is called OURADDI.org, and it stands for African Diaspora Development Initiative. Anyone who wants to join and become a member of this organization can just log on. Whatever you can afford, you can put money to work for you on the continent of Africa. You get an annual update to how your money are being developed, and whether it's 500 or 1,000 you can start out with. Now you said that I can lead. I already donate to this organization. Anyone out there as an African, we have a continent that needs to be built.
Right. But when I said you can lead, I'm suggesting that you go to Africa.
Oh, but trust me, my intention is to do just that, providing life present. Now, I said something on this station, I don't remember if it was with you or with the Monday host, where I stated that the developed countries, whenever they go to the World Bank or the IMF to borrow, they borrow for 1.5 interest rate, and when the African countries go to borrow, they borrow at 9.10. And Ms. Henry said that the reason, and I'm quoting her, the reason that this rates are so high is because it's the default. Well, I say it is deeper than being default. It is set up in that way for them to not be able to pay back in order for them to go and get what is on the continent, which is the raw materials. These are serious things that is happening because this thing that is going on right now with us, it is all about survival. It's about genetics. However, you want to interpret the vaccine. I am not telling anybody not to take the vaccine, but ask yourself the question, because information is out there. Things have happened in the past to our people and to other race of people. You take the vaccine today. What's going to happen 20 years down the road when you decide to get children? Now, if something happened where you have taken this vaccine and you see, you get a child and the child is deformed, would you be able to say, well, this is because of the vaccine that we have taken? This vaccine that they say was discovered in Wuhan, there again, you can interpret however you want because we heard it came from bats and all of that. But you analyze for yourself, because things have been developed in a lab and placed on people.
Yes, but I understand what you're saying, Carla, but I'm just trying to have a better understanding. What are you saying exactly? Are you saying that 5 years or 10 years down the road, that would be the case?
What if it is? What if it is? And again, I go back to what I said earlier. We are a people that are easily, we believe rather than knowing the facts. Get to know the facts.
Well, how do you know the facts if you don't believe the facts?
That's just it, Cornelius. I don't know the facts, but I know what has happened in the past. And that's why I'm saying the knowledge, information is out there. The creature have put vaccine in India, in Africa, and our people was the effect of these vaccine over the years. Now, you can ask yourself, who is the creature? And that, again, is for your own interpretation. You look at who has everything under their thumb, their control, from technology to financing, and you come up with your own conclusion. But we have to recognize that this is a war against us. No mistake about that. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, caller, for your contribution. We have another caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to add a little bit of what I heard Ms. Henry said about the African liberation message. I respect those who still purport this message to us, and in many ways we should never forget where we come from. But to ask petitions who have seen so many Africans trying to live here, petitions and their visions, who are trying to migrate to St. Kitts and Nevis, now to ask us to go to their country, So while they might be reading the relevant books and perhaps listening to relevant videos, the applicability seems to be lacking in our society to ask us to return to Africa. When Marcus Garvey did ask persons to do that, it was in a certain context. Okay, it was in the American culture of oppression, and that was way back then. I think he had even organized a vote. There were two countries that were not colonized by a European country, that's Ethiopia and Liberia in Africa. All the others have the same colonial past as we do. The practice that they would have more land mass and could probably give more land, but the practical ability of going there and be given land and starting over, it just seems a little bit far-fetched. Besides, I've dealt with some Africans, and what is interesting, as one of our Western brethren said, that when his aunt went to Africa, they welcome her like a queen. They would do that because they like foreigners. In fact, they would call foreigners white, and they would call different people white. I can't understand that in 2021 people would still have that mentality. So I'm asking, is she asking really advanced people in St. Kitts and Nevis to go to that kind of thinking? So, I mean, we listen and we appreciate the African heritage and the history. But bringing it to 2021, I think that these Rastafarians that try to convince about going back to Africa will need to rethink, their positions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, caller, for your contribution. We'll just take one more call, and we will begin wrapping up our program. You can call us at 466-0989-762 and 662. Let us take this last call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
Migration is a phenomenon, not just restricted to humans. It depends on what the climatic condition might be. Let's say the north-south, we see birds migrate. So that's not restricted to who, what, where, what continent, what peoples on what continent wish to migrate and to go. They, on an individual basis, would know. Well, let's deal with the statistics. Africans are migrating from the continent, but other people are migrating to Africa. Opportunities that arises elsewhere, persons will want to migrate. If the birds in the north know that it's snow in the north, they'll go south and they feed. That's migration. So that is out of the window. What me personally would like to visit the continent, go to the continent, live there if possible. It's my birthright to do. But I am not going to encourage anyone else because I did not born with anyone else. Other persons born on the day I was born, but I did not plan with them to come. Having said that, we know that the world is hinged on the continent of Africa. Even Botswana that have so much diamonds, they just discover an array of oil. So it seems like it's on a daily basis, discoveries are made. We all know the old adage, who told the birthright and what birthright should be given to who. It is our birthright to do, and don't feel like we have reached the pinnacle of modernity that we're going to shun our backs. Who wants to do so? Hey, so be it. But migration, what the guy gave out, those information, is for you to invest in your own birthright. Let your money work for you while you are here. It's Donald Trump who said that. I don't know why you Americans, black Americans, are poor. Because my friends leave here poor and come back wealthy. So that's the fact, that's the reality. I love your money to work for you because you're trying to allow it to work for you here. But you see the preferential treatment here. Your money is trying to work for you. You go to a bank and you're getting turned down because your idea was taken and they're going to give it to the buddies and their friends. So that's the opportunity. The world is the sky is your limit. Invest, invest, invest. Because others are invested into your birthright. Why we are so naive that our birthright and the rights of first refusal should be given to you, then you share with the world. Because the continent has enough to share with the world. It has shared with the world and built the world, and that's why you see all of them is going and don't want to relinquish their grip on the continent. Check out the French Prime Minister or President or whatever he is with the summit. They are there. Not only them, the one who did the first world, but the second world and the other world people are going there now. I read a story about this Israeli businessman in the DRC. That is where he's investing his money. Go there, invest, and then come back and invest in St. Kitts Nevis. That's all we're saying. Don't be naive and turn a blind eye to what is going on. And then another 5-10 years now, your children are going to ask, Mommy, why? Why didn't you invest in the continent? Daddy, why didn't you invest in the continent?
Right. Thank you so much for your...
And we invested in the continent, and we come here and we're doing these things to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Carla, for your contribution. We're going to begin wrapping up our program. Thank you to all of you who participated. It was a very good discussion regarding the recent developments of COVID-19 within our communities, and a discussion with the African heritage from some of our callers. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for your continued participation. Those of you who joined via social media such as Facebook and YouTube, thank you for tuning in. I was your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We are, of course, here at 1FM. We're going to continue to monitor the developments with regards to COVID-19 in our communities here in St. Kitts and Nevis. As it is now, schools will remain closed until, well, for the next 2 weeks in the first instance, a curfew has been implemented from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. For the next 2 weeks, no mass events, all mass public events have been cancelled for the next 2 weeks. These are some of the stringent protocols that were implemented as a result of the rapid increase with the coronavirus cases here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Continue to do your part in keeping St. Kitts and Nevis safe. Play your part. Do whatever it takes to keep your family, friends, and loved ones safe. Practice the non-pharmaceutical measures. Make sure to wear your mask. Make sure to change your mask. Make sure to wash your hands and have a hand sanitizer. This was Voices on 1FM 98.9. Until next time, stay safe. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Stay tuned to 1FM.
your Horsford's Value Mart, IGA Value Club,